As I stated before, we are in the studio with Mr. Keith Berry and Miss Althria Goebel. Althria Goebel. I cannot say that. And I wanted you to be introduced to them because there's an awesome movie coming up that he is starring in, and we want to give you the 411 on everything that's going on. How you doing, Keith?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am splendid. And you, Miss Goebel, how are you?
Doing wonderfully, thank you.
Super. We're going to tell you about this awesome movie. It's called Now Hiring, and this is Keith's movie debut. Tell us about this project, Keith.
Now Hiring is a film about a normal guy, Joe Martin, who is having a little trouble in his marriage, and he's been out of work for a while, and his wife's telling him, you know what, you need to get a job or we may not make it. Mm-hmm. So he sees an ad in a newspaper that is actually asking for superheroes. Now he assumes it's, performers at kids' parties, so he says, okay, I'll go in. He embellishes on his abilities, he gets hired, then it turns out that these guys are actually superheroes that fight crimes. So he gets kind of swallowed up in a world where he has to learn how to rise to extraordinary circumstances being just a normal guy.
It sounds like a movie that everyone can enjoy. What's the target population for the movie?
Well, our target population is everybody. Mm-hmm. It's just a message that goes along the lines of you don't have to be superhuman to do something extraordinary. So that's something that everybody can relate to because there's situations in life where you have to kind of give a little bit more than what you're used to, get uncomfortable, but everybody has that ability to go beyond themselves.
Well, I tell you what, being the fact that Keith is a native Houstonian, some great talent come out of Houston. Do you want to talk to our audience about how you got the acting bug?
The acting bug actually started, I would say, in high school. And I was just happening to sit with a friend that was looking at it was actually a Western version of Romeo and Juliet. And they had a guy that did not show up for rehearsal, so they asked me to read his part. Mm-hmm. I read it. They loved me so much that they asked me to actually join the play. And from there, I was like, okay, you know what? There is something to this acting thing. And I ignored it, of course, because it's unrealistic. Everybody and their mother wants to be an actor.
Okay.
So there's a lot of competition out there. And it didn't actually happen until years later that I realized, as I was performing on my church stage play, that this is something that when I'm doing it, I get lost in the moment. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love it, and I can't live without it. And I knew that this is what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, was act, communicate, tell stories, entertain.
Well, how and where did you get your first opportunity to be on this movie, Now Hiring?
My opportunity for Now Hiring actually came through a friend of mine by the name of Jason Scarborough, who's also in the movie as well. Mm-hmm. He asked me, we actually met in an acting class with Brad Milne, and he asked me to, a couple years later after we met, to come by. He needs somebody to punch in the face for this scene in this movie he's in. Okay. I said, sure, why not? So it was actually a meeting at his house in his garage, and one of the producers, Gina Schoeniger, was there. And I started asking her questions. I'm like, so who's the main villain? And she told me. I'm like, was there a second in command, or like, does a villain have a bodyguard? She said, yeah, something like that. And I said, well, who's playing that? Well, this guy, but we're not so sure about him. I'm like, well, if things don't work out, just keep me in mind. I can do that. And she said, okay, we'll keep you in mind. And that whole rehearsal, we were creating fight choreography, was being recorded. Mm-hmm. The director saw it. He liked me. He liked my energy and asked me to audition for the part. And here I am.
Well, talking about opportunity and being in the right place at the right time.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you all did an exclusive preview of the movie in San Antonio, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Why don't you tell us how that went?
It was a sold-out crowd.
Wow.
They absolutely loved the film. They laughed at all the jokes, which is always a good sign.
Always good.
They responded with oohs and ahs and gasps with the fight scenes, mm-hmm. the special effects. It translated really well. I'm really happy about how it turned out.
Well, that's wonderful. So I know that you all are not going to be stingy with sharing the love. So are you coming up here?
We will be coming here on Sunday, June the 8th at the Santikos Palladium AVX. It's actually located at 7301 Grand Parkway in Richmond, Texas.
Super. So it's called Hollywood Meets Houston.
Hollywood Comes to Houston. Yes, ma'am.
How befitting. And I tell you what, it's just some great, great, great talent in Houston. And we just wanted to share all of this wonderful information to the listening audience. And we also have one of the executive producers of the movie here. And we want to get a little spiel from her. This is the awesome Miss Goebel, and of course, she has quite a fabulous association with Mr. Barry. How are you doing?
I am doing well, thank you.
And how was your trip down?
It was interesting. I discovered some traffic I didn't know existed here in Houston, and I didn't think that was possible. So,
well, surprise, surprise. So you are an executive producer on this movie, and this is your debut, actually, yes?
it is my first time doing the executive producer role, but I filled every shoe possible on set, from PA to water person, crafts table, whatever it took,
Right.
I did. And there's a wonderful team behind the scenes that contributed to this production.
So now, being on set, you also did the executive producing aspect of it, and you are also an extra in the movie as well, right?
I am an extra. I play one of the mayor's assistants, and if you blink, you will miss me. But it was awesome to be in a scene with my son.
Yes.
He was trying to peek at me, and I was trying to peek at him, and we were in opposite ends of the room, but it was great.
Right. So when we say son, Miss Goebel is the mother of Mr. Keith Barry. So imagine being able to work on set, with your mother. So, and they always have an eye on you, making sure you're doing the things right and all that good stuff. So, so how was it being mothered on set by your mom?
Well, it was interesting. She actually played mother hen to everybody,
Yes.
so I wasn't overwhelmed.
Okay,
but with the costume I had to wear, it got a little hot in there. And I'm not a complainer, and I never said anything to anyone, but she actually took it upon herself to tell the director, Mark Cantu, we need to cut because Keith needs a break. And I just said, okay. Well, yes, ma'am.
And you're thinking, thank God my mama knows
Yes.
what's going on.
I could have filled a couple water bottles with sweat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, awesome. That's great to know that somebody has a keen eye that's looking out for you. You are going to be fascinatingly excited about the preview here. Talk to us about that.
The preview is going to be awesome. I have worked really hard and have had a lot of wonderful people give me some great advice.
Yes.
And we have most of the cast coming down. Some can't make it because of scheduling conflicts, but it's going to be red carpet, and we get to do the step and repeat, the paparazzi feel, reception afterwards, and champagne toast, and it's going to be awesome. I mean, we're hoping for a sold-out crowd here, too. And Mr. Camden Toy, who played a lot of the villains on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, will be flying in from L.A., so all those Buffy the Vampire Slayer / Angel fans,
Yes.
come on out. He's a really sweetheart in person. I mean, quite contrary from his characters that he plays. So, yes.
Well, that sounds exciting, and I am absolutely excited about it. I can't wait because I am going to absolutely be there.
Absolutely.
And so I will make certain to give you all a report back on how everything went down. I'm going to give you the 411. You know I am.
Or you can buy a ticket yourself and come see.
Absolutely, you certainly can. And they're going to let you know where you can get this information and how you can be able to obtain a ticket to go to the preview. Now, got something else I want to ask you. Girl to girl. Now, being the executive producer and all of that good stuff, you had a desire and you were able to fulfill that desire. Share with all of the women that are listening how powerful and significant it is to go for your dreams.
It feels amazing. It took me most of my adult life to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up. And entertainment is it.
Yes.
I had that bug, like my son. In high school, I actually did take drama classes, did the play thing, and then came to be an adult and decided, like you said, there are so many people out there that have that same dream, that look better than me, probably sing better than me, act better than me, whatever. Let me just do the mommy, wife, responsible thing. And of course, you always have that little nagging in the back of your head. And then you start thinking, I'm too old to do this. And I'm reminded about Loretta Devine.
Right, absolutely.
When she got started. And this opportunity just kind of came at a really difficult time in my life. I'd lost my husband to pancreatic cancer. And also at the same time, Keith was doing the movie, and I decided to come on as an Indiegogo contributor.
Yes.
And I was on set, and it was very therapeutic to be there and to see my son work and just to see him grow and just operate in his element was so awesome. And to be a part of this team of executive producers, which are mostly female, and and very diverse group of women. We've got one person that is a forensic anthropologist.
Wow.
And someone that's a newbie like me that's just in the business world that kind of came over.
Yes.
Someone that's experienced as a producer. I mean, just such a big variety of people. And when you put us all together, we just have this great big collaborative hodgepodge of ideas that come together, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I think that the movie overall is outstanding, and very proud to be a part of it, and that it was made in Texas and written and directed by Mark Cantu, who is from San Antonio. And but I know that two of the more fabulous people that were associated come from Houston, Texas.
All right. You have some other things that are coming up. Would you like to share anything that's coming up?
Yes, I am actually working on a project with Shedrick Cortez Stokes of SCS Films, and it is called Joy Comes in the Morning. And it is about a mother and daughter who are diagnosed with cancer within 6 months of each other. So it basically talks to a lot of cancer survivors and talks about their journey. And it's an awesome story, very moving, very deep. And I'm also working with Charles Williams, and he is also a Houstonian and a graduate of Prairie View.
Yes, he is.
And a wonderful guy. Just one of those you need to walk around with a recorder and just follow him and just get all of his ideas.
Right. He's a walking wealth of information. I know.
He definitely is. And I'm working on Journey to Manhood with him, which he actually also interviews Keith on there, but he has lots of people, from athletes to politicians to the ordinary person, just talking about what it is to be a man and what their journey was about, and if there was a man in the household or not, how that impacted them. Just very powerful, getting the male point of view of growing up.
Right. Well, I'm excited for what you have coming up, and you be certain to keep me in the loop so that I can tell our people what you guys are doing. Keith, I want you to tell us what you got going on. What do you plan to do after, the movie premieres and all of that great stuff, the preview? What do you have in mind?
Well, I have something, a very, very promising project that I'm working on right now. It's a TV show, sci-fi genre. I can't tell you a whole lot because I had to sign on the dotted line saying I wouldn't open my mouth about it.
I understand.
But it's very promising, and very soon you might have to set your DVRs to record me.
Okay, well, I tell you what, when all of that comes into play, you're promising the Queen an exclusive, correct?
Absolutely.
Y'all heard it right here. Well, I am just excited that you all decided to stop by the Queen's house and give us the exclusive interview on what's going on. And the exclusive preview will be coming what date? Tell us again.
It is Sunday, June the 8th.
June 8th.
And in order to get tickets, you need to visit www.hollywoodcomestouhouston.splashthat.com. And that's splash like water, that.com.
Awesome. Why don't you tell us, you have a website or something that they can get in touch with you?
Absolutely.
Keith?
If you want to see what I actually look like, or if you want to check out my demo reel, you can visit keithberry-actor.com.
Very good. Well, let me testify to you, folk. I can see what he looks like, and it's all right. We'd just like to thank you guys for being